So, anyone who's been watching my channel for a while will know that I'm a big advocate of just simplifying your photography. I often talk about just picking your camera up and going for a walk and photographing what you find. Well, today I'm going to try and put my money where my mouth is. I've picked a route, a 5-mile route that I've never walked before, and I'm going to set myself the challenge of trying to find 10 images on that walk. So I've no idea what I'm going to find. All I've done is just plotted a route out on my OS maps. I've walked about 300 yards and it looks very rural. But let's give it a go. I'm sure we'll find something to photograph. I think this is going to be a lot tougher than it looks. I'm about a mile in and this is all I've seen so far. And I don't really do landscapes. Stay positive. I'm sure there'll be something I can find to photograph. So I think I've found my first photo. There's a couple of containers that you normally see on the back of a HGV over there. It's the location of them that's caught my eye. They're just on the edge of a stream or lake in a field. Look like they've been there for some time. I think I'm going to try and get quite creative with this though. I'm going to use this gate as a blurred foreground and then have the shipping containers in the distance. And just to make it even more challenging, I've got my X100 with me, so a fixed focal length. Wouldn't be my preferred choice, to be fair, but my X-T5 is with Fuji for repair because I dropped it, so I have to make do with what I've got today. Well, I think I found my second shot. Very rural image, but a couple of things have caught my eye there. I quite like what looks to be a broken gate just lying in the deep mud, and the blue trailer there. Yeah, I mean, clearly this is going to be a rural walk, so it makes sense to have at least one image featuring some sheep. Right, so let me just quickly explain the simple kind of rules that I've set myself for this challenge. So it's 10 images within this 5-mile walk. And although I can take as many photographs as I want, I can only choose one of each scene that I look to photograph. I wanted to give myself a reason to kind of work the scene and try and find the best image I could, but obviously I thought it might make it too easy if I find one good scene and then get 10 photos from it. So no, I'm not allowed to do that. Oh, surely I can find something here. Some farm buildings. I think this has got some potential. I'm just going to use this, I mean, it's not a particularly interesting building. It's quite modern. But I like the light hitting the fence. And beyond the building, there are kind of rolling hills and distant villages. So, I don't know. I'll have a look. There might be some better potential images around this part, but I'm going to grab this one. Whether this is the one I'm going to choose, we'll see, but it's not too bad. Right, I'm quite torn. I mean, this is not the most interesting subject, but I like how the sun is casting a shadow of the fence. So, tough decisions. You'll see the one on screen now that I've chosen though. Let me know what you think. Which scene would you have gone for? Well, I'm a mile and a half in and I've only got 3 images so far. So I've stumbled across this. I just quite, the light looks nice. Could just do with those 3 horses looking at me though. I think I'm going to have to take this one. Is it something that I'm particularly drawn to as a subject. Not 100%, but I don't know how many more I'm going to find in the next 3.5 miles. So yeah, let's get this one. So one thing that I'm learning so far is when you place restrictions on yourself, how much more you start to pay attention to everything. I mean, I'm 2 miles in now, and what have I got? I can't remember if I've got 3 or 4 images. So I'm only just about on track. So anything that catches my eye, I'm considering, can I take a photograph of it? I earlier walked past some kind of horse stables, but in the grounds of that there was just so much abandoned stuff, but I couldn't get to it. Obviously it was all fenced off and I couldn't get any clean images of it. I mean, there would have guaranteed to be an image in there. It would have been up my street, but hey ho. I'm enjoying the challenge so far though. Now that's more like it. There's definitely something I'm going to be able to get here. Quite like the little horse munching on his hay. There's definitely some character to those buildings. So quick progress update. I'm about 3 miles in, 5 photos in the bag. My favourite one so far, I think, has to be that last one. The one with the horse eating the hay and the old rustic farm buildings. My kind of scene, that one. Worryingly though, in the half a mile I've covered since then, I've just been following a cycle track and I've seen absolutely nothing. I mean, I'm not saying I'm getting desperate, but there was one of those dog poo bins. That's the only thing that stood out as I've been walking along here so far. But no, I think that will be pushing it. I think I might have found something here with this bridge. It looks like an old railway bridge. But I quite like the rustic nature of the fence panels leading up to it. Probably the kind of image that would look better in the summer when there's some foliage surrounding it. But yeah, I think there's something I can work with here. Just a case of finding the best shot for this challenge, really. I think there's probably a few images I'll be able to take, but we'll have to try and narrow it down to one. There's certainly a lot of character to this bridge. It's obviously been here a long time. Oh, it's quite difficult to know which image to choose on this one. There was a guy and his dog walking over the bridge, which surprised me because it's the kind of area that I didn't think I'd see anybody. But it's such a busy scene, kind of all the clutter of the tree branches. You probably mean your eye will be flitting around that image, so I'm toying between that and something a little bit more detailed. As I say, it's a really rustic bridge. It's been around a long time. So that bridge is a good example of a subject that requires, I think, several photographs. It's so old and rusting in places that you really want to capture some of the detail shots to go with the wider establishing shot of the bridge. But I've had to narrow it down to one, so this is the one I've gone with. Oh, I've passed another farm. Surely I'm going to get my 7th image here. Is it 7th? Will it be? I'm running out of fingers now. So the farm that I've just walked through, that was a treasure trove of interesting subjects, but sadly I couldn't really get good clean images of them because they were the other side of a fence, and obviously I couldn't go across that fence because they'd been on private property. But I have got an image, so here's that one. So I've just double checked, I've got 6 shots and about a mile of the walk left to go. So I think it's going to be very challenging to find 4 more images within that mile. So how am I finding the challenge so far? I mean, it's difficult. It's been such a rural walk, I haven't seen a massive amount of subjects along the way, but I have found things, and I think that's the important message here. You know, I'm getting some exercise. You know, I've got a specific focus in mind for my photography today, and the fact that I'm limiting myself to only 10 shots and no repeated shots of the same scene is making me slow down at each scene and thinking a little bit more about what the best image from that scene potentially could be. Of course, you know, the restrictions of a fixed focal length have definitely not helped today. There would have probably been 1 or 2 extra images I could have captured with a zoom lens, but yeah, I'm so used now to going out with the X100-6 on these types of walks that, you know, I've learned to just switch off from images that I definitely can't capture and just focus on the ones I can. So, you know, I no longer see it as a restriction anymore, more as just a challenge and something I have to think through and overcome. Well, I think this might win the award for the most bizarre photo I'm going to take of the 10. But the colour of it just popped and caught my eye as I was walking by, along with the question mark about why is that there. Sure, it's there for a reason, but there's only one along this lane. Image number 7. Now, I'm not getting desperate yet, trust me. Let me talk you through what I like about this scene. So I think firstly, anyone who's been watching my videos for a while knows that I'm a sucker for red traffic cones. And there's a plethora of red traffic cones here. But I quite like the shelter. I've no idea what it is, maybe a bike shelter, a bus stop, I don't know. But anyway, the light that's hitting it's quite nice. And then the row of traffic cones leads your eye to a house in the corner, and there's some nice overhanging branches that completes the scene. Like a lot of my images, these won't be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm going for it. This is number 8. That's not a bad find. I like the colour. I think that's going to be image number 9. See what we can work here. Well, actually, the building that's behind it, with the moss or whatever it is growing on the roof, that looks quite nice. Just, I think the colour of the blue horse trailer really pops against the building behind it. Yes, I like that. It's a nice road leading off to other farm buildings in the distance. I think I might go with the one where the branches from the trees are reaching into the scene. The light was nicest on that photo too. We'll see. Plenty of time to change my mind. Anyway, you'll have seen, or you'll be seeing now, the one that I went with. So if my maths is correct, I think I need to find 1 more image, and I've got a 1/4 mile to go before I'm back at the car. And ahead of me, I think I can see something that has a bit of potential. Fingers crossed. I think that's one of those trailers that you sometimes see in fields on the motorway, obviously advertising. Well, it's just in a random field now, advertising to no one except the owner of the house that's next to it. like that. It's my kind of image, really. Just where it's located, the life it's previously led. It's obviously been somewhere else before it's been dumped here. Well, I've just looked back through the photos and realised I've taken 11. I should have realised when I ran out of fingers. So no doubt some of my calculations during the video are off. But hey ho, I'll have shown you all 11. So I need to have a think about which is my favourite from today. I'm not going to decide now because I haven't seen them all on the computer. So I will pop up on screen now which one of the ones I've taken today I like the most, and I'll just put up a caption underneath as to why. So let me just kind of try and summarise the whole experience and what I've learnt from it. So I think it's the first time that I've probably set myself a goal like I have today to get a specific number of photographs and placed quite strict restrictions on that. But I have enjoyed it. You know, I think there were times where I thought, no chance, there's no way I'm going to find 10 things to photograph when I've been just walking through featureless fields or down cycle tracks. But ultimately I did, and as I mentioned at the start, I'd done no planning other than I plotted a 5-mile route on my OS maps. No idea what I was going to come across. But it just kind of goes to show, you know, if you look hard enough, there's usually something to photograph. Are any of these images going to be portfolio images? Of course not. I mean, to be honest, I don't subscribe to the whole portfolio image stuff anyway. I think that's more of a landscape photographer thing. You know, photography for me is all about the process, enjoying the fresh air and photographing what I can, what catches my eye, basically. So I hope it's giving you a little bit of food for thought. You know, why don't you let me know in the video comments below what types of photo challenges you set yourself just to keep photography interesting. Oh, there's a plane flying over. And if you haven't done anything like this, has this video given you food for thought, inspiration to want to have a go at something similar yourself? Right, I can almost see where the car's parked, so let's wrap this one up here. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.